Hello, I am being frank with you. Today is Friday and temperature is 7 degrees. Not too bad really. I downloaded the Tesla app last night. Actually, I've had it downloaded for some time. What I really mean is the Tesla app became live for my car, and so this morning, first of all, last night I put it on charge, and it charged until about 3:30 this morning, and has brought it back up to 224 miles. So this morning, using the facilities in the app, about 6 o'clock, I said turn on climate control and lift the temperature. Now the temperature in the car was already 12 degrees, and I've now brought it up to 17.5, and because it is still plugged in, this has no effect on the 224 miles of range which it had loaded in last night. So let's just have a look at the car. So here is the display in the car, and as we can see, it is still charging. You see it says 2 out of 10 amps. I don't really know what that means. And it has dropped to 223 miles. I think maybe that is because I've had the doors open and the lights on while the car is sitting here. But I would have thought when it is still plugged in on charge that it would be okay and not change. But it does say charging is complete, so it seems quite happy with that. On the main screen it is also showing me charging complete, and it tells me I have added 40 miles in that charging process, which I think is right. It was about 182 or 184 maybe last night, and it has added 40 to bring me up to, it shows 223. So that is good. One thing which I will need to get is some sort of plastic sheeting for the back of the car, because there's been a little bit of rain overnight and all the cable is a bit covered in raindrops, and when I put it in the back of the car I noticed that this is going to make the back of the car a bit wet. Now this is only with a little rain, but what happens when it has been blowy, stormy, dusty, whatever, and I don't want the back of the car just to get dirty from this cable. I also took the precaution of getting some oil-proof gloves so that I don't get my hands dirty when I'm pulling in the cable. So a bit of a cold start with the showers in the swimming pool. The boiler has failed overnight and the showers were cold. My lights have gone off. So after the swim it was pretty death-defying going in the shower because there's no heat in it at all. But hopefully I'm now back in the car and I will heat up on the journey into work. I have spent about half an hour in the car with one of my colleagues. He just wanted to go through all the different controls and see all the things that the car can do. I'm looking at the trip meter at the moment, and it says it's been 28 miles since I charged the car, but I noticed that I've actually used 35 miles of range, so maybe I need to drive a bit slower. I don't think that's the case. We just need to get some understanding of how real miles translates into miles of charge. While he was in the car, my colleague switched on the Spotify account, which comes with all Tesla cars in the UK, and now every time I go into the car I'm hearing music, which I don't particularly want to hear, so I don't know quite how to switch that off, but I'll work on it. Now I must go into town. I've been to the bank, I'm now going into town, and then back to the office to get something to eat. It has been surprisingly foggy on the way home tonight, but I'm glad to be back. It has taken nearly an hour to do the usual 40-minute trip, but now I'm just cruising into my driveway, and then I want to have a look at how well the Tesla has done on its first real day of driving around. I've completed 66.7 miles since I finished the charge this morning, and it started off, I had 223 miles of range. I now have 140 miles, so what's that, 63. So that's not bad. I have done 66 miles and only used 63 miles of range. I think that's pretty good compared to this morning when it looked like it was going to be the other way around. I was going to use more miles of range than I had used. Sorry, I kind of lost it there because I was trying to navigate between a cement mixer and a pile of sand. Anyway, I'm now parked, and I want to show you the trip display so that you can see I've completed 66.8 miles, and it has used 63 miles of range, which I think is the right way around. This is what you want to be achieving. So I'll let you see the trip display. And this shows that since last charge there is a 66.8 miles of distance, which I said before. And if I move over to the display in front of the steering wheel, you see I have 140 miles of range left, and it's a very nice 80 degrees centigrade this evening. So I'm quite happy with the way it has performed today, and now I shall put the car on charge again overnight, still using the 3-pin plug, which was very slow, but at least it does the job, and that's what we want. I talk to you then again before I go to bed. So the car has now been charging for about 2 hours, and when it started it said it needed more than 14 hours of charge. No, that is not right. When it very first started it said it needed more than 24 hours charging. But that is because when the charging starts, it starts low and then gradually builds up. So, for example, it showed 1 mile of range for every hour of charging, and so it would be way more than 24 hours. But very quickly it builds up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now it's sitting at 6 miles of range for every hour of charge. And it says I need just about 12 more hours to go. As it's the weekend, it's not a problem, and as recommended in the Tesla manual, you just leave the car plugged in on charge, because every now and again, if it's cold, it wants to heat up the batteries a little bit, I think it's easier just to leave it all plugged in. It doesn't make any difference to me. One of the really fantastic things about the Tesla is that you can get the Tesla app on your phone, and I must say I have used this today because it allows you to look at the car and see that it is locked and that it is secure. You also get to see what the climate setting is inside the car, and I must admit, the first thing this morning at 6 o'clock when I got up, it said that the car was only 11 degrees, and I thought I would like it to be a bit warmer when I get there. And you can do this through your phone. You don't have to go anywhere near the car. You can use the phone app and just say to the car, I want you to be 20 degrees. And by the time I went out to the car at 20 to 7, so 40 minutes, it had raised the temperature to 19 degrees Celsius, and it was very comfortable. And later in the day I did exactly the same thing. And it is surprising how little of the range it uses up to heat the car. Sometimes it is just not noticeable. Around about 3 o'clock this afternoon I had to go out, so before I left at my office I checked the car and it was 13 degrees, and again I said I wanted it to be 20, and by the time I got to the car again it was 19 degrees, and in terms of the range, it only used about 1 mile of range, so it's a really good thing to have. And the best thing about using the app on your your mobile phone, is that you can check the charging state. So I can look at my phone and see that right now it has only 11.5 hours still to go until it is fully charged. And as I said earlier, you just leave it on charge. But you can always check and find out. So if you are going to use a Tesla supercharger and you go to a cafe, you can just constantly monitor the charging state, and then as soon as you're good to go, you can go. So as you can tell, I am very impressed with the car, and I'm looking forward to this weekend and maybe on Sunday getting out for a nice run in it. So till then, thanks again for watching. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.